Looks like we are live. So, if you are tuned in, thank you so much because this is my first shot at some video under my website, Baseball Focus. If you've been following me, long form writing content is kind of my thing. Never really envisioned myself getting into any video or podcasting, whatever you want to call it, but figured I'd give this a go. Give me a chance to add some more substance to some of my rankings and articles and whatever it is. Just a chance to talk some ball rather than just sitting on the computer and writing. Can get monotonous at times, to be completely honest. So I figured diversifying the content a little bit would be nice. So thank you for tuning in. This first video, we're going to project the field of 64 for the college baseball tournament, which is funny. I said I never envisioned myself jumping into video. I also never intended on doing a field of 64 this season because this is my first season like doing college baseball specific coverage. The last two seasons I've really followed the college game just because I've done MLB Draft coverage the past couple years. And so obviously you got to be tuned into the college game for that. So I've learned a lot about the college game, but I figured in my first year of doing college baseball coverage, I still didn't feel like qualified or knowledgeable enough to do a field of 64. But, the last couple weeks you see all these college baseball outlets start doing their field of 64. And I'm like, I want to try to do my own. So 11.7 college baseball, great guys over there. Try to listen to their podcast whenever I can. They have a field of 64 projector tool that they have on their website. I'm about to pull up here in a second that we're going to use to actually do the field of 64. Hopped on there, was playing with it a little bit. Didn't do a full one, but I figured it'd be fun to hop on here and do it as my first video. So we are going to kind of grind through this thing together because, like I said, I haven't done one. I haven't done a full 64 at all. This is my first time doing a full field of 64. The only thing I've been doing this season is a top 25, which I've had a lot of fun doing. So hopefully that helps. But we're going to kind of grind through this together. And when I say we, myself, I'm going to do it by myself, and you're going to be on the other side of the screen screaming at me that I forgot some team, I forgot your favorite team, forgot to put them in. Regardless, it's not going to help because you're going to be watching this after the fact that I've released this. So I am all alone. I'm on an island here trying to do this myself. So bear with me. Be nice. Be nice in the comments if you want to leave one. With that being said, let's go ahead and share my field of 64 projector tool on 11.7. I guess I'll probably try to leave a link to this so you guys can go ahead and do one yourselves. And when I say we're going to grind through this, we really are going to grind through this. Might take a lot of editing because the only thing I've written out kind of who I've projected to win the lower level mid-major conferences, because that's going to take a lot of time if we were just going to grind through all that as well. For those, I just took the current conference leader in each of those conferences, mostly the one bid leagues. I have those written out, and we'll fill them out as we go. And then I have an idea of who my top 16 seeds are, mainly the top 8 national seeds. And then from there, we'll still really start to get into the mud with it, so to speak. So, with that being said, let's jump right in. I hope you can see this. I'm not technologically advanced or good with video, so like I said, we're just going to kind of get through this together. So, my number one seed might come as a surprise to some of you. It is the University of California at Los Angeles, also known as the UCLA Bruins. And coming in at number 2 behind them is their crosstown rivals, the Los Angeles Dodgers. Just kidding. But I kind of say that joke to say in this is my third year of like really following college baseball. I haven't seen a team as dominant as UCLA, as well rounded as them. Um, they're undefeated in the Big Ten, and there is a chance that they just go on to run the table. There's no reason to believe that. I have no reason to believe that they're going to drop a series, and that's kind of where the conversation starts if you're going to take them out of the number one seed. Like right now, I have UCLA number one in my top 25, as does everybody, and Texas is my number two. That number two seed right now, I think, is up for debate between Texas, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina. But like on the top 25 for me, like even if UCLA goes out and loses a series this weekend and Texas wins their series, like I'm not convinced I would automatically just move UCLA from that top 25 number one overall spot at the moment. I think it would have to take an ugly sweep of UCLA and Texas winning their series pretty convincingly, or Georgia Tech, North Carolina, whoever it is, for UCLA to fall from that number one seed. Do I think they're going to run the table in the Big Ten? No. They still have Oregon on their schedule, I believe, but for the most part, I think they have a fairly easy schedule, all things considered. It's UCLA. I think they win the rest of their series. They might drop a few games. Even if they lose a series or even two, I just think the overall resume at this point is just too good for me to drop them from that number one overall seed. With that being said, my number two seed right now is Texas. There is debate for Georgia Tech or North Carolina. I think when it's all said and done, I think all three of those programs are going to have one series loss on their resume. Texas, their series loss at this point is Texas A&M, Georgia, Texas to North Carolina. North Carolina lost an early season series to Virginia. So I think when it's all said and done, I think Texas' resume is just going to be a little bit better than Georgia Tech and North Carolina. So moving on, I have Georgia Tech as my 3 seed. And obviously North Carolina has that head-to-head series win over Georgia Tech. I don't think it was convincing enough for me to feel confident about putting North Carolina above Georgia Tech in the seeding. Georgia Tech has obviously been dominant all year. And I think the fact that North Carolina's series win over Georgia Tech came at home. If it was a sweep, it's probably a different story. But at this point, I think Georgia Tech's resume is just going to be better than North Carolina's when it's all said and done. I believe Georgia Tech is also number 2 in the RPI at the moment. There's a very good chance that remains at the end of the season. With my number 4 seed, I've got North Carolina. And then my number 5 seed right now, with the way they are trending, they do have, like, as it stands right now, they do have the best series win of the season, in my opinion, and that's Texas A&M. It was at home, but they did take down. Obviously, no one's taken down UCLA yet in a series. Texas is the highest ranked team right now for me that has dropped a series, and that series was to Texas A&M. And if the final game of that series doesn't get rained out, we're potentially talking about Texas A&M having swept Texas. So I think the way Texas A&M is trending, I feel confident about them at my 5 seed. Number 6, I'm going to take Georgia. Speaking of Georgia and Georgia Tech, was just at the Spring Classic last night at Truist Park. If you've been following me throughout the season, you know Georgia Tech has been my team I've chosen to cover specifically. They're here in my backyard here in Atlanta. Had a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun covering them. But yeah, good time last night at Truist, Georgia Tech, Georgia. Georgia Tech coming through with the run rule. Another good, win to their resume that makes me feel confident about them coming away with at least a top 4 seed, regardless of what might happen at the end of the season. Number 7, this number 7 and 8 kind of comes down to a few different teams for me, but I like Florida State and Auburn to secure these final 2 seeds. You could probably interchange either of them. But I'm going to take Auburn at the 7 and Florida State at the 8. Auburn is currently number 4 in the RPI, Florida State number 9. I know that there's probably a lot of debate about Alabama or Florida being a top 8 seed. For me, Florida and Alabama, they are going to fit into the top 16 here. Florida and Alabama, if you read my top 25 explainer that I release each week after I put out my top 25, Florida and Alabama is kind of in this group alongside Arkansas and Oklahoma. It's this group of SEC teams that you have no idea what you're going to get from them week to week. Florida has some of the best wins, in the country. They went on the road and swept Arkansas. They went on the road and beat Georgia 2 out of 3. But they also have lost 2 midweeks at home to Jacksonville. They lost a home series to High Point. They are 3-0 against Florida State in the midweek. But like I said, it's like I don't feel confident about Florida on a week-to-week basis. So they're not a team I could feel comfortable putting in the top 8. Alabama is another team in that group, regardless of the fact that they are 6th in the RPI right now. Florida's 12. They're 2 teams that, obviously could be top 8 seeds when it's all said and done. But I just feel more confident about Florida State and Auburn as it stands right now. Auburn did just beat Florida on the road. So those 2 teams are going to round out my national seeds. 9 through 16 is where it gets a little tricky. I don't think there's a large number of teams that are in the hunt for this, this final 8 regional seeds. With Florida and Alabama kind of being those teams that very well could be national seeds, I'm going to place them at 9 and 10. Alabama does have the series sweep over Florida in Tuscaloosa, so I'm going to have them right above Florida. So they'll come in at 9 and 10. From there, actually, I'll put Ole Miss 10 just because they do have the road series win over Florida. I'll take Ole Miss at 10. Florida at 11. So you've got the top 9 in the RPI covered here. Southern Miss is 10 in the RPI. Oregon State 11. Then you've got Nebraska down at 13. Coastal at 14. Coastal is a team that I feel pretty confident in securing a regional seed, so I'm going to put them at 12. They are getting Cam Flukie back this weekend, so they're a team that I'm feeling more and more confident about. Winning the rest of their of their weekends in the Sun Belt. So we got Coastal at 12. Southern Miss is another team, kind of like Florida and Alabama, where I wouldn't say you don't know what you're going to get from them every week, but they did have up until this past week where they went 4-0, a very impressive series win over a strong Arkansas State team that's going to slot in here probably somewhere as a 2 or 3 seed. But they did have a stretch of a couple weeks where I think I had them stuck right at 13 in my top 25 for like 3 straight weeks because they would win their weekend, but they would also lose their midweek. So I think it was 3 straight weeks where they went 2-2. And for me, mid-majors, Sun Belt is the best mid-major conference, but I still think for mid-majors it's a matter of you have to go 3-1, whether that's sweep your weekend, lose the midweek, or go 2-1 in your weekend but win that midweek for you to really move up. So Southern Miss is another team that I'm not super comfortable saying is going to secure a regional seed. They are right there at 10 in the RPI. 8-7 in Quad 1, 9-0 in Quad 2. And they are 18-5 in non-con. So decent resume, but just like I said, just another team that I wouldn't feel too confident about really securing that throughout the rest of the season. So we've got 4 more teams here. 2 teams that I really like to get in here are Nebraska and Kansas. the way those two teams are trending, I like them to secure regionals. And then from there, I think you got to put Oregon State in there. Regardless of Oregon State's schedule, it is a weaker schedule. But they've put together a solid resume of wins. There's not a lot of bad losses in there. So Oregon State, I feel good about them hosting. And then for me, it kind of comes down to Virginia, Boston College, Missouri State. They have it at 17 in RPI. They certainly have there's certainly a conversation there for them, but they also don't lead their conference right now, the CUSA. I think if Jacksonville State leads the CUSA right now, if Jacksonville State wins that conference, I don't think that Missouri State can get that regional host if they didn't win their mid-major conference. So I like the idea of them hosting. Mississippi State's there at 18, Oklahoma at 16, two more teams that, I just don't feel great about down the stretch just because of the nature of their season up and down. USC at 15 in the RPI. They're a team that's just kind of been exposed by teams that are better than them. They got swept by UCLA and just got swept by Nebraska, which is why I like Nebraska moving up. So I do like the way Boston College is trending, but the fact that Virginia has kind of stuck around there as a top 15 team all year, I like them there a little better than I do Boston College. So my regional hosts: UCLA, Texas, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, Texas A&M, Georgia, Auburn, Florida State, Alabama, Ole Miss, Florida, Coastal, Nebraska, Kansas, Oregon State, and Virginia. 4 ACC teams. You got 1 Big 12, 2 Big 10, and then 7 in the SEC, and then Oregon State, you're independent. This is where we start to really grind through this. I think we're going to work backwards. I believe the NCAA the committee is ranking 1 through 32 this year, so that covers all of your 2 seeds as well. So going through these 2 seeds, we're going to kind of be thinking about, okay, well, who's 17 through 32. We're going to try to get the top 32 teams, in my opinion, into these first 2 seeds, and then obviously kind of try to group them regionally. So we'll kind of start backwards, work back towards UCLA at number 1. And I'll try my best not to really sit here and think too long about it so I don't have to do too much editing. But in Virginia's regional, if we're trying to group by region, and you also can't have 2 teams from the same conference in the regional. So another thing to keep mind of. So like Wake Forest 24 in the RPI, can't put them there. Boston College, can't put them there as well. So kind of looking at these top teams that I left out of regional hosts, USC is the top team in the RPI that I left out of a regional. So I do think I do still, regardless of the fact that UCLA is trending down, I still like them as a 2 seed. We'll actually find a spot for them right now. Can't put them with UCLA. Do they fit? I think they fit into this Texas A&M regional. So that'd be like the 27 seed. That might be a little too low for USC. Put a pin in that. How about the Oregon State series? That makes sense. Because USC is 15 in RPI right now. That 16 plays 17, 15 would play 18. I think that's a decent landing spot for them. For the Charlottesville regional with Virginia, I think we might go with. I think we're going to throw Liberty in here. Do I think that they're going to land at 17 in the RPI by the end of the season? Maybe not, but I do like their chances at winning that conference. Like I said, with Missouri State, Jacksonville State's currently winning that conference. But the way Liberty has looked recently, they very well could be that conference champion in the CUSA. Moving on to Kansas at 14, so that's going to be the number 19 team. I think we'll give them Missouri State. Like I said, kind of trying to group teams regionally. Group them in tiers as best as possible. So I think Missouri State kind of, with them being 17 in the RPI right now, and yeah, I could feel confident about them finishing 19. Nebraska at 13, so they would be facing number 20 seed. Kind of looking over there, you got Mississippi State 18, Oklahoma 16. Actually, I think I like Oklahoma there as a 2 seed. Moving over to Coastal at 12, so you're looking at number 21 seed. Wake Forest would be a good spot for them. We'll give them Wake Forest. I believe they're 1-1 against each other in the midweeks. Moving down to Florida as the 11 seed. UAB might be a nice opponent there at 32 in the RPI. UAB does have a win over Florida in that first series of the season. Miami at 35, UCF at 36 in the RPI. Miami's trending up right now. I think I like giving Miami to Florida. Moving on to the Oxford Regional. I'm right here looking at Alabama. I think this will be a good spot for UAB as a 2 seed. I believe they are, they're first in the American right now. So they're probably going to secure a pretty high seed if they go on to win that conference. That's a tough mid-major conference. I'm looking right here. East Carolina 43 in the RPI, UTSA 47, USF 57. So that's potentially a 4-bid league, probably at least 2, maybe 3, depending on how that conference shakes out. So UAB 2 seed in Tuscaloosa, and then you're finding a 2 seed for the Oxford Regional. Cincinnati at 23. Can't put Mississippi State in there. USC, they're already in the Oregon State Regional. I think I might like Cincinnati in this one. Yeah, I'll put Cincinnati in this Oxford Regional. They're 23 in the RPI right now. Moving on to Florida State at 8. So this is like the 24 seed here. Jacksonville State. I think that might be a good spot for them. Arkansas at 34 right now. Let's throw Jacksonville State in this Florida State region. We'll throw Jacksonville State here. And then the Auburn Regional. So it's 25. Everybody through the top 20 is accounted for in the RPI right now. I hope y'all enjoy watching me think through this. Just kind of thinking out loud. UC Santa Barbara at 25. I mean, they're going to win the Big West. I think it makes the most sense to give them to UCLA, because that's going to be the 32 seed taking on, or that's as the number 2 seed in the Los Angeles Regional. I think that's probably a good landing spot for UC Santa Barbara. They're 25 in the RPI right now. We're looking at the Auburn Regional right now. UCF potentially at 36. Texas State at 38. I think I like giving them UCF here. Give Auburn to UCF. UCF was in the top 25 for a couple weeks. They've kind of been trending down, but I still like this kind of 20 to 30 range for them. Athens Regional, you got Georgia at the 6th seed, or 6 overall seed. CU at 40 is they're probably a 3 seed. Oregon at 26 is going to have to slot in somewhere. They're probably going to land in a regional on the other side of the country. West Virginia at 28. This might be a good landing spot for West Virginia. Although I might like West Virginia a little better in that North Carolina, Chapel Hill Regional. Slot in West Virginia there. Oregon at 26 in the RPI at the moment. We'll give Oregon to Texas A&M, College Station Regional. And then you're just missing Texas, we're missing Austin Regional, Atlanta Regional, and Athens Regional for those 2 seeds. The remaining teams that I like as 2 seeds, obviously Boston College, I like there. Gonzaga, 31 in the RPI, 12-3 in the West on the West Coast. Tennessee at 8-10 in the SEC, 33 in the RPI. Arkansas, they've got the series win over Alabama. They got the series sweep over Alabama on the road. So I think Arkansas is a 2 seed, and the only other regional I can put them in at the moment is the Atlanta Regional with Georgia Tech. That leaves Texas and Georgia's regional. Boston College is going to slot in as a 2 seed here. We'll give them to Georgia. And then a little further down the board, Arizona State, 37 in the RPI. They've been the bubble top 25 team all year. We'll give Arizona State to Texas in the Austin Regional. Kind of like the way this is shaping up. And then so I think we'll move on to our auto bids, find spots for them. The lowest auto bid in the RPI at the moment is, I believe, is Bethune-Cookman at 200, currently sitting at the top of the SWAC. Slot them with one of these higher seeds. I think regionally they fit best in the Atlanta Regional. So Bethune-Cookman there as Atlanta's 4 seed. Sorry about my squeaky stool here. Hopefully my laptop microphone's not picking it up too much. Utah Tech 153 in the Western. Murray State 151 in the Missouri Valley. Rider 165 in the MAC. North Florida 164 in the ASUN. We will slot them in with Florida State. Actually, we'll move them up a little bit just because they're one of the lowest auto bid seeds. And yeah, we'll give them to Georgia, Athens Regional. Okay, so North Florida is accounted for. Rider 165, Murray State 151, Nevada 124. Oh, Farley Dickinson 260. They're the lowest auto bid seed at 266 in the RPI at the moment. So we'll find a spot for them. We'll give them to the Austin Regional. Little Rock 100 in the RPI, slated to win the Ohio Valley. Oral Roberts 116. I believe Utah Tech is the lowest remaining auto bid. No, Rider 165. Yeah, so Rider will find a spot for them. We'll give them to the Chapel Hill Regional. Find a number 4 seed for the Los Angeles Regional. We'll give them Utah Tech at 153 in the RPI. So 4 seeds in the top 4 regionals are accounted for. Knock out some more of these auto bids. Nevada probably fits nicely into Oregon State's regional. Murray State 151. They're my lowest remaining auto bid. Could put them in the Oxford. They won the Oxford regional last year. I believe were they a 4 seed? Actually, Western Kentucky I think was 4. No, they might have been a 4 seed in that one. Someone fact check me on that. We'll give them to Auburn. Although I do like the idea of them going back to Oxford and trying to win that again. We'll give them to Auburn though. All right, Wright State at 138. Throw them in Virginia's regional. Still got Oral Roberts at 116. We'll give them to the Lincoln regional. All right, let's knock out a few more of these auto bids. Binghamton at 103 in the RPI. When I'm saying these random numbers, I'm saying their RPI standing right now. So Binghamton at 103. We'll give them to Florida State. Keep them on the East Coast because they're coming from New York. Still got Little Rock at 100. Lamar at 97 in the Southland. Little Rock, I think I like in this College Station Regional. Wofford at 86 in the SoCon. Lamar 97 in the Southland. St. Joseph's 44 in the A10. Knock out Lamar real quick. Yeah, Lamar's got to fit into this Austin Regional. So the Austin Regional's good. Wofford at 86 in the SoCon. We'll give them to Coastal Carolina. Xavier at 77 in the Big East. I think I might like them as a 4 seed in this Lawrence Regional. So the Big East champion is accounted for. You got Winthrop at 88 in the RPI. Big South projected champions at the moment, but you also have High Point in that conference as well, sitting at 49 in the RPI. So I think High Point is a team that makes the tournament. Just how high of a seed they can get kind of depends on if they win that conference. Winthrop probably fit nicely in this Chapel Hill Regional. St. Joseph's is going to be a 3 seed. They're 44 in the RPI at the moment. Currently winning the Atlantic 10, which is going to be a 1-bid league. I think they slot nicely into this Charlottesville Regional. You got Campbell at 80 in the RPI in the Coastal Athletic. We'll throw Campbell as the 3 seed in the Atlanta Regional. Kent State currently winning the Mid-American at 55 in the RPI. We'll give them to the Lincoln Regional. Miami, Ohio at 52 in the RPI is another team that could potentially be a bid for the Mid-American. You got Gonzaga at 31 in the RPI, winning the West Coast as the only bid in that conference. So that's a potential 2 seed, but it's not necessarily something I bet on. Probably make them a 3 seed. They fit perfectly into this Corvallis Regional. So that looks like a nice regional there. So that accounts for all of the auto bids. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 at-large teams left. Just going to take a look at our RPI. The highest ranked team in the RPI remaining, I believe, is Kentucky at 30. Actually, I have Mississippi State at 18 still. So I think they're going to have to slot into, they can't go into the Athens Regional, Auburn Regional, College Station. The only remaining regionals they can get into is Conway for Coastal, Tallahassee for Florida State. Can't get into the Gainesville, Oxford, Tuscaloosa Regional. They can get into Lawrence. Already have Missouri as the 2 seed there. Missouri State as a 2 seed there, which I like. We'll throw them in the Tallahassee Regional, but swap them with Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State will be my 3 seed there. That shapes up to be a nice little regional there. Florida State, Mississippi State, Jacksonville State, and then Binghamton. The highest ranked team in the RPI unaccounted for at the moment is, I believe, Kentucky. Can't go into Tuscaloosa, Oxford, Gainesville, Auburn, Athens, College Station. I think it makes the most sense to give them to Lawrence Regional, Kansas. So it'll be the 3 seed in there. The Lawrence Regional is finished. That leaves 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 remaining at larges. Tennessee, 33 in the RPI. Texas State 38, Arkansas 39, TCU 40, Virginia Tech and Clemson on the outside looking in, East Carolina at 43. East Carolina, I think I really like putting into this Conway Regional. Although Coastal and East Carolina were in the same regional a year ago. We'll throw East Carolina in this Conway Regional. I believe they were in Coastal Carolina's regional a year ago. You still got 3 and 4 seeds remaining for Tuscaloosa, Oxford, and Gainesville. All 3 of those teams. You get a 3 seed for Auburn, 3 seed for Athens, 3 seed for College Station, and a 3 seed for UCLA. Tennessee is going to be in the tournament, but they cannot get into any of those. They can't get into College Station, they can't get into Athens, they can't get into Auburn, Gainesville, Oxford, Tuscaloosa. Everyone down here is count. That would just leave them in UCLA's regional, unless he did some shuffling, which I don't really want to do. That's going to take too much time. Tennessee, I hate to do it to you, but actually that might make the most sense because, I mean, putting UC Santa Barbara as a 2 seed in the LA regional basically says that UC Santa Barbara's number 32 seed in the tournament. Right now, Tennessee sits at 33 in the RPI. We'll throw Tennessee in this Los Angeles regional. A little bit out of place. I mean, you got UCLA, UC Santa Barbara. I believe they're within 60 miles of each other. Then Utah Tech out there on, not on the West Coast, but at least close enough. I mean, that gears up for some nice competition in that LA regional. UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, Tennessee, Utah Tech. That could be a fun one. That leaves us with 9 more at-larges remaining. I really like Texas State and Arkansas State getting in. Although Texas State is 1-7 versus Quad 1. I might hold off on Texas State at the moment. I think I like Arkansas State more than Texas State right now. They are coming off the series sweep of Coastal, but they did have a series win against Southern Miss earlier in the season. Arkansas State, we'll put Arkansas State into this College Station regional. Texas State fit into Oxford. TCU at 40 in the RPI. I still feel like TCU is a bubble team. But just because of where they sit in the RPI, we can get them in here somewhere. They might be a 4 seed to me, just because, like I said, for me, they're on the bubble regardless of their RPI at the moment. So I think they might. I mean, I only got 3, 4 seeds remaining. We'll throw them in this Oxford regional as well. Oh, we already got a Big 12 team in the Oxford regional. We'll throw them in this Tuscaloosa regional. Michigan is a team. I like the way they're trending. Although they did just have that funky midweek where they canceled their midweek against Dayton and then scheduled against Miami, Ohio to get both of them canceled their midweeks so that they could play each other to have a better chance at boosting their RPI. Michigan lost. But I still do like the way they are trending. UTSA and the American, I like for them to make the tournament. Virginia Tech and Clemson in the ACC. I mean, Clemson's sitting at 42 in the RPI, but they're 6-12 in the ACC. I don't like their chances of making the tournament. I'm going to say they're out. Virginia Tech at 9-12 in the ACC. I'm not sure I'm going to consider them either. 4-12 in Quad 1. Michigan, I love the way they're trending. UTSA, I like their resume as well. NC State 9-9 in the ACC. I do still think they make the tournament. California Baptist, I've been high on them all year. They're 31-10, 58 in the RPI. It's going to be tough kind of trying to fit all these teams here at the end. Oklahoma State 46 in the RPI, 8 and 10 in the Big 12. That might not look good by the end of the year. High Point 11 and 4 in the Big South, 49 in the RPI. They've got that the road series win at Florida. That's going to look good on the resume. I think we throw High Point in this Athens region. UTSA and the American. I like for them to make the tournament. I think put them alongside Texas State over here in the Oxford regional. That leaves me with 4 remaining at-larges. Looking at the RPI here, who I like the most. I think I like Michigan. I think I like NC State. Baylor, I'm not sold on. Kansas State, I'm not sold on. Miami, Ohio looks really good in the Mid-American right now. Like I just said, came off that win against Michigan. Cal Baptist, I think, has a strong case to get in. I think I might have just named my 3 teams getting in: Michigan, UTSA, and Cal Baptist. You have Cal Baptist going across the country because only 3 remaining locations for them is Auburn, Tuscaloosa, and Gainesville. I think we'll throw Cal Baptist in this. Have your pick: Auburn, Tuscaloosa. Throw them in this Tuscaloosa regional to round that out. Michigan, I think I really like getting in here. LSU 6 and 12 in the SEC. I wouldn't say they're done, but I think I don't feel confident putting them in at all. Oklahoma State at 8 and 10 in the Big 12. I'm not convinced of them either at 46 in the RPI. So NC State and Michigan, I think, get in here. NC State rounds out the Auburn regional, which leaves 2 more at-larges for the Gainesville regional. And I like Michigan to get in. So we're going to give Michigan the 3 seed in that regional, which leaves 1 remaining team. And I don't think there's anybody else in this top 60 RPI that I'm completely convinced of that I have not covered yet. South Florida is 21 and 4 in non-conference, but they're sitting at 7 and 8 in the American. Louisiana 16 and 6 in non-conference with 7 and 11 in the Sun Belt. You got Miami, Ohio here at 14 and 7 in the Mid-American, 12 and 6 in non-conference, 3 and 6 in Quad 1, but 8 and 2 in Quad 3, 13 and 2 in Quad 4. 52 in the RPI. Kansas State 9 and 9 in the Big 12. Baylor right ahead of them in the RPI at 50. Kansas State at 51. I think it comes down to Baylor, Kansas State, and Miami, Ohio. Baylor's got the best strength of schedule out of the 3. Honestly, which team fits into the Gainesville regional best out of those 3? I think we'll give. I think it's coming down to those 3. I mean, you also got BYU at 9 and 9 in the Big 12, 53 in the RPI. I think just because of Baylor's strength of schedule there, I think we're gonna put Baylor in there. That rounds out all of these regionals. We'll just go through them real quick, see if there's anything I don't like. LA Regional, UCLA, UC Santa Barbara, Tennessee, Utah Tech. I don't like sending Tennessee out there, but that's fine. Austin Regional, Texas, Arizona State, Lamar, Fairleigh Dickinson. Atlanta Regional, Georgia Tech, Arkansas, Campbell, Bethune-Cookman. I think I like that. Chapel Hill Regional, North Carolina, West Virginia, Winthrop, and Ryder. College Station Regional, A&M, Oregon, Arkansas State, and Little Rock. Athens Regional, Georgia, Boston College, High Point, North Florida. Auburn, UCF, North Carolina State, Murray State. Tallahassee Regional, Florida State, Mississippi State, Jacksonville State, and Binghamton. Tuscaloosa Regional, you got Alabama, UAB, Cal Baptist, and TCU. Oxford, Ole Miss, Cincinnati, Texas State, UTSA. Your Gainesville Regional is Florida, Miami, Michigan, and Baylor. Your Conway Regional, little battle of all the Carolinas. Coastal Carolina, Wake Forest, East Carolina, Wofford. Your Lincoln Regional, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Kent State, Oral Roberts. Lawrence Regional, Kansas, Missouri State, Kentucky, Xavier. Your Corvallis Regional, a little all West Coast here. Oregon State, USC, Gonzaga, Nevada. Charlotte's Regional, Virginia, Liberty, St. Joseph's, and Wright State. That regional might be a little weak for a 16 seed. I think we'll hold there. I think my favorite regional that I put together here is perhaps the Tallahassee Regional, Florida State, Mississippi State, Jacksonville State. All the top 3 seeds in that regional, I can see either 3 of those teams winning that regional. I think the Atlanta Regional is competitive. I mean, Bethune-Cookman at 4, their team that's already beat LSU and Florida this year in midweeks. They would be a sneaky 4 seed there. Also got Arkansas in that regional. Athens, I like Boston College there. They would be a 2 seed. They might be the 2 seed I'm most confident of going to Omaha. A&M, I think, is a College Station Regional. I think is a really sneaky. It was really sneaky in terms of the competition there. A&M, Oregon, and Arkansas State, and Little Rock. Little Rock was in as they almost beat LSU in their regional last year. So yeah, there's your field of 64. Really had to actually let's go through conference. We got ACC has 8 bids. You got 3 in the American, 7 in the Big 12. I honestly might feel a little generous for the Big 12 right now. 5 for the Big 10, 2 in the Big South, 12 in the SEC feels right, 3 in the CUSA, 2 in the Western. Yeah, and then everything else, just your auto bids. So, wow. That was a lot. I hope you enjoyed watching me grind through all that. Like I said, I'm sure some of you are on the other side of the screen screaming at me for a team I forgot. I hope I didn't. But this is something I'm hoping to update every week until the tournament. Kind of shuffle some of these teams. I could do a top 25, maybe do a video every week where I'm kind of breaking down my top 25, the updates there, and then kind of come in here to the field of 64 and shuffle some of these teams around. So, with that being said, hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, and hope to do this again, get better at it, because that was a lot. I almost feel like I should have went through and did this before I started recording, because it's probably going to be a lot of editing. So, but yeah, hope you enjoyed. Give some feedback, and hopefully see you on the next one.